So, welcome to the second week of the Coding Summer School, where we'll be covering Python programming. And the first lesson we'll be covering is going to be setting up of Python and a bit of a background in Python as well. All right, so let's go through the notes. So we are following on from last week, where we focused on Linux terminal bash scripting. Now we're going to be focusing on a specific programming language, which is Python. So now, what is programming? So programming is just a process of using instructions that tells a computer how to perform a task, right? So, and we're going to use a programming language of Python to create these instructions. And there are many programming languages, hundreds of thousands almost, like C and C++ and Java. But we will be using Python as it's quite versatile, easy to use, and also quick to learn. So in terms of Python overview, Python can be used to create pretty much any application, software, analyze data, to do data science, web applications, running embedded systems. It's almost like a Swiss Army knife of programming languages, where it might not be the best language sometimes, but it's probably the second best language for almost anything, right? And who uses it? Well, all the top companies around the world use Python in some way or form. So like NASA, YouTube, Google, Instagram, Pinterest, all these all these companies use it, and it's used around the world. So what can you do with it? Well, here I just tried to kind of split up Python, applications or different ways of using it in 4 different ways. There are actually many more, but these are the 4 main ones. So the first one is web development. So this is something that I do on a daily basis. We don't really cover web development. We don't cover it at all in this course. We will cover the section on data science, right? The section data science is what we'll cover, and how to apply it and use it for your own research. The other framework or theme of or application of Python programming is machine learning, which we'll touch on slightly, and I'm sure you are all aware of machine learning. And then there are also desktop apps that you can write, like in application of software, you can write with Python. You can even write mobile applications as well. And the apps you can write on your phone, you can also do that with Python. So how does it compare to other programming languages? Well, depending on what site you look at, Python is either second or first most used programming language around the world. Java and Python is always a competition. All right. So let's look at Python as a tool for data science, because that's our main application. Right? So if you look at simple Excel, spreadsheet here, we have columns for index, age, gender, and country, and for 11 people. And let's say we want to extract some useful information from this table of data, maybe get some statistics on the age column, for example, getting the minimum, maximum, average, and standard deviation. So we can easily do that with built-in functions in Excel, as you can see over here. And we can even do some filtering. For example, people of the age of 30 who are male and from South Africa, we can easily do that using the filter tab in Excel. And you can also draw maybe like age distribution as well in Excel. So these are simple tasks that we formed out in a data set. So now the question is, how do we do this in Python? And what can we do more with it as well? And what you'll find at the end of the course is how much quicker it is to do this in Python than in Excel, and how much more efficient it is to use than Excel. All right, so let's get started. So we're going to be using CoCalc just to make sure that, ease a transition between Linux course last week and this course. So we will be using CoCalc just to start a lesson, a terminal. And in the terminal, we're just going to type Python. And what you'll see is something called an interpreter popping up. And once you see these 3 arrows, you're in a Python interpreter where you can punch in like a few lines of code. It's not ideal to use because you can't save what you're doing, and it's very, very useful for only like 1 or 2 lines of code. But just to get started, we can use it. Right, importantly, how to use these notes. If you see this block of code in black, then know it's either Python code or files or output data. An important thing about this course is it's a practical course. Whatever examples are done in these blocks of code, in these code blocks, you must do them yourself, as well as check that you get the same answer. Right, so let's begin. Because this is like a data science themed course, we're going to do some math, arithmetic operators. So just to do some basic math, addition, subtraction, multiplication is quite straightforward. And division, to find the power, just 2 stars. An assignment is a variable, an equal sign, and the number you want to assign. All right, so let's jump into the interpreter. These are some examples you can do. Just add your numbers, use the print function, creating variables and printing it. So if you print the print command over here, it's very similar to echo. So it just displays the information on the screen. And then here we show how to add two numbers together, right? So all this, the documentation explains what I'm doing. And you can go through that. I won't go through all of this information. Importantly here, this just shows you that Python reads from top to bottom. So if you define something, if you try to print something and haven't defined it, you'll get an error. All right, so let's quickly jump into CodeCalc. Just give you a brief example. If this, I think this one is running, So Python, there we go. So Python, there we have interpreter. We can say X is equal to 40, Y equals to 2. We can say X plus Y. We can just say X if we want. We can also say print X, print that, say name equals Python. So you'll find that Python isn't as sensitive as Linux. You can have spaces in various places and you can still use it. And some is like X plus Y, and you can print some as well. Right, so just a few simple examples just to get started in Python. And that's pretty much it. We'll be moving on to the next lesson.